I think you'll know better than I do the opportunity that this club presents any manager, any player. It's playing at a level which is way below where it should be in the football pyramid for me. I've thought that for a number of years. And it's in a position in League Two where, again, when you look at the balance of it all, the side of the squad, and particularly the fan base, you shouldn't be there either. But in football, it dictates you are where you are on the pitch. And if you're not winning games and gaining points, you've got a problem. So the director of football at Newcastle, when I took a final counsel on whether I should accept the job, I think maybe I've read my words, but he said to me, and the jobs you've turned down, you've told me you've not woke up excited and want to get in the car and go. And I said, yes. He says, well, I said, I've accepted the role at Bristol Rovers. He says, call me on your way down the M5. I called him on the way down the M5. He says, what's your thoughts? I says, I can't wait, I'm buzzing. And he went, that's what we feel you should have when you take a new job. And that doesn't matter whether it's football management or an electrician, whatever, you should be looking forward to going to work.
And on that, obviously, the appointment happened quite quickly. How easy was it to make that decision?
Post the meeting, it was easy. Obviously, I was at a league managers mentors course with a number of unemployed managers, but the room was full of good people. You know, Eddie Boothroyd, Stuart Pearce, Steve McLaren, Mike Phelan, Neil Thompson, really good people. And then I got a call from, seeing my phone, I had to take a call from Ricky Martin. I don't know Ricky, I know him from football, but I don't know him as a friend or anything like that. So I took the call and he just said that they'd identified me as someone that the board would like to speak to and speak to imminently. So arrangements were set up quite quickly. I was coming out of St George's and coming to Bristol. So followed that up later, met the board, met Ricky, I had some time with them and then followed that up later in the evening with another sort of team Zoom call. And then I was left with a decision to make. So I took some counsel. You know, I spoke to Tony Stewart, my previous owner at Rotherham. It's still a great club. It didn't work for me the second time, but it's great people. Spoke to Tony, I spoke to Phil Wallace at Stevenage. And then finally I spoke to Darren McAntony, of course. You know, someone I know particularly well from my time at Peterborough, but he's become a friend. And they all said one thing, that's a club for you. That's because I turned down some opportunities that I didn't think there was, other than the present, there wasn't a future. But the one thing I've spoke to the board about is, and why I insisted on a short-term contract, was we deal with the here and now, we sort the immediate problem out, and then we can think longer term, because you can't think longer term unless you deal with an immediate problem. But when the job was offered, and the summary of your question is when the job was offered, I knew in my heart I wanted to take it because I've been here many times.
You say you've been here many times. Some of the clips of your comments on Bristol Rovers have been doing the rounds on social media, talking about how it's a huge club, one you massively respect. How much do you know about Bristol Rovers, and how much do you know about the area and the city itself?
No, not a great deal. I know there's two proud football. There's probably other football clubs in terms of amateur or semi-pro or whatever, but there's two proud football clubs in this city. And I've always been the believer. I've been slightly biased towards Rovers because Paul Rayner's always spoke so highly about them because he played here as a young man on loan from Nottingham Forest. And I've genuinely always had the belief that because I've had plenty of stick here, because I've normally done quite well as a manager winning games or whatever it is, Paul has always said to me, Gaffer, one day we could be there. It could be a big club. And so I genuinely look at it and say, if, you know, Bristol City are a really good club, a good owners, I have to say that because I believe it. And but the difference in terms of they're playing in the Championship and we're playing in League Two shows you are where you are for a reason. So the first thing we have to do is to be on an equal platform, is win some games.
On that, obviously, you do take over the club in a precarious position in the relegation zone in League Two. The fan base is divided as well. There's some issues off the pitch currently. What's your message to the supporters of this football club now you're the head coach?
Yeah, I think it's difficult. I think from the outside, you know, when before there's any threats of Darryl, I suppose, leaving or different things, you look and you see the result upon result, and you understand from reading the press that there's criticism towards everyone, the ownership model, the manager, the players, and that happens in football because you have to win football matches. But what I factually know, now that I'm part of this, is this club is the third or fourth highest budget in League Two. Supporters won't believe that. I can tell you that's true. It's probably a budget, if not more than Stevenage, who are at the top end now of League One. So the resources are there. The board have also given me complete assurances we'll go to work in January. But my message to the players that we've come in and inherited and we've got is what positions we go to strengthen in. Supporters will have opinions. They'll see them every week, home and away, some just at home. But our views is we have to judge it as we walked in yesterday. So obviously we've trained yesterday, we've trained today. First day properly on the training ground with us today. In the next 3 or 4 games we'll form opinions as to what positions we need to go for the market. And believe me, I know a number of players that I'd like to bring here, but I have to satisfy myself that there's not equal or better here. If there is, or if the better's from outside, I'll ask Ricky to bring this from outside in.
The reception to your appointment actually has been overwhelmingly positive on social media. Can you sum up what will a Steve Evans team look like and what will the fans have to get behind?
I think where you can sometimes say it's difficult to explain that is it's not the players that I've recruited, it's the players that Darryl has recruited, because the first thing you realise when you're manager here, contrary again to what I've read and what I hear, is the manager here or the head coach has final say on who walks into the football club as a player. So Darryl's had final say, other than maybe some players he inherited from the year before. My team will evolve over the next 3-4 weeks. It will evolve through January because we'll get a chance to modify some of it. But our style of play has been consistent from Rotherham to Leeds United to Stevenage, Peterborough, is that we play high intensity football. We try not to give opposition time on the ball, and sometimes we've always said to teams what we lack for in terms of natural ability and being able to win a game. There's nothing beats winning football matches with the greatest desire, because believe me, a team with the greatest desire win football matches. If I looked at the success we had at Stevenage, going to Aston Villa and winning the cup, why did we win that cup tie? Because we had a greater desire to win that cup tie. There's players that can play, but there's players here that can play. So let's see if they've got the desire to play on a Steve Evans and Paul Rayner side, and we'll only know that when we see them under our selection.
How much are you looking forward to that first match?
Oh yeah, it's going to be difficult. You know, Crewe are a really good side. I know 2 or 3 of the players. Young Marshy was at Stevenage. I know Lee Bell, he's a young manager. I've had many a time in the office afterwards. I've got great respect for actually Crewe Alexandra as a football club and what they've stood for over the years and their identification of outstanding talent. They're a young side, they're hungry, they're going very well. They've had a couple of recent results. It's good, but I'm really looking forward to it. You know, it's first game as a manager for any club is always a big one, it's always a nice one, and we'd love to come back down the road with something added to our points tally, and then looking forward to 2 huge games over Christmas at home and a local derby up the road at Shrewsbury. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So I'm camped in Bristol for the foreseeable future, and the Maldives at Christmas. Mrs. Evans went off the table on Monday. She's heartbroken. She instead of being in the Maldives walking around a beach, she's going to be coming to the memorial with my grandkids. So it's but we make decisions as a family, so we're all looking forward to it.
Gonna have to get her an extra special present.
Yeah, I think I may have to. I don't even know at this stage if I'm going to see her on Christmas Day, but yeah, listen, we do things as a family. We're a tight family. I've just showed some of the our in-house media some videos of my grandkids singing Bristol Rovers songs and etc. We're excited about the challenge. It is a challenge. We've got to deal with the here and now. If we can deal with the here and now, if we can get the here and now sorted, Bristol Rovers is a really bright future. Steve Evans hasn't come to Bristol just to have 3 or 4 months of work. Financially, I didn't have to come back to work. I wanted to come to work. I didn't have to, or I'd have gone to the SPL a month ago, or I'd have gone to League 2 in last month or so. I've come here to join a big football club that can release its potential, which it needs to do.
Finally, you mentioned earlier it's only a short-term contract. I want to deal with the here and now. On that, how proud actually are you to be adding Bristol Rovers to your resume as a manager?
Oh, very much so. I mean, I was I think the board were thinking longer term for me. My view is, until you work with the squad, you don't know what you've got, and there was assurances to strengthen it, which we will try and do. But players currently here will decide what we do. From my point of view, it's just I insisted on short term. I don't want to manage in the National League. I don't think I'm going to go down that road. I may have to in the future, but I don't want to. And I don't want to be thinking otherwise, other than we have a positive 4 or 5 months. We get to the summer and we put a squad and a team in place, Ricky and myself and Paul working really hard. Supporters can be rest assured that they can criticise, but I speak as I find it. The resources here the owners must shake their head. They must cry out because they get undeserved criticism. Supporters don't see that. Supporters see results. I understand that, but there's never been a football club on the planet that when results are not good, the board don't get criticised. If you look at Glasgow Celtic, they won the treble last year, and this year the owner's not very good. So there's nothing to do with the owner last year. So just let's all throw the rope in the same direction, and if we can do that, this proud football club will have some good times ahead. It needs good times, and we're working hard to bring them there.